أوكي، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. Okay, so inshallah today we'll be concluding Surah Yasin, inshallah. We've looked at the structure and where did we get to? So we were here and we got to the point where we said it was C. What was point C in Surah Yasin, the middle section that it all kind of like revolves around and comes back to the key points before? It are the blessings. So twofold. Allah is powerful, therefore He can punish you and He can resurrect you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent you many blessings, therefore you should be grateful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elaborates here. He says, and a sign for them is the dead earth, right? Key concept in the desert, right? The dead earth, like there's just nothing, right? Um, this concept of death, right? You think about, talking about the empty quarter. It's a key concept in the desert. There's nothing there. It's empty. There's no water. There's no this. There's no that. Right? One of the names of the desert in Arabic is Ubaid, the mother of the petty slave, meaning you go out into that desert, you're just lost. Just sea of sand, nothing there, right? And yet we, the royal we, وَمَا لَنَا مِنَ الْعَظَمَةِ, and in our greatness, we give it life. And it doesn't say we give it life, right? وَآيَةَ لَهُمُ الْأَرْضُ الْمَيْتَةُ أَحْيَيْنَاهَا. We have given it life. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're looking at it dead, and then boom, it's life again, and the death was past tense, and it already happened. So Allah uses the past tense here. It doesn't say we give it life. We gave it life. And suddenly it's all over. Right? It's all over again. And we have already brought out for much grain that you may eat. Habban, a lot of grain, a lot of things. Right? So key blessings that are mentioned again and again in the Quran: grain, livestock. Grain, livestock. Right? So life as a hunter-gatherer is very, very difficult. It's very unstable. It's very difficult. When you have predictable weather and you have the knowledge and ability to manipulate the ground and have crops, wheat, corn, rice, etc., suddenly life it takes on a totally different reality. So the life that we understand, which is a kind of um, a life, and that led to then reading and writing. Why would you record anything if you're not actually if there's no system? Right. So we look at and first reading and writing is all to do with grains, documenting amounts of things, laws to do with these things. Otherwise, there's no, even the word law in Arabic, Medina, right? Medina means a place of law. City means a place of law. There's everything else is lawless, and there's no need for laws because there's no stability to anyway. But so the reality then of a town where there is access to water and there are crops, a regular system of crops. It's a huge fundamental thing, right? Fundamental thing. And then access to domesticable megafauna that we mentioned last week, or access to food, to meat. It's a huge thing. And we make therein gardens of palms and grapevines, and we make springs to flow forth, that they may eat of the fruit thereof, and that which their hands did not make. And we mentioned that translation was not very good. And they will they then be grateful? Glorified be him, how amazing he is. Right? I mentioned this last week as well. Subhanallah. We said that was from the word al-faras as-sabuh, that quick horse that you could possibly catch up with. It means Allah is so indescribably amazing. How indescribably amazing is Allah, right? Who created pairs of all things, and of the earth, and of what the earth grows, and of their kind, and of what they do not know. So again, focus on knowledge as well. Allah knows, you don't know. The verse began, the surah begins with Tanzil al-Aziz al-Hakim. He's powerful and he's wise. You're not powerful and you're not wise. And it ends with Subhanallah فسبحان بيده ملكوت كل شيء ذلك تقدير. No, that's going to come in a second. He was going to mention ذلك تقدير عزيز. He was going to mention knowledge or wisdom is going to come back somewhere near the end of the surah as well. So Allah can and you cannot. Allah knows and you know not. And then it continues, and the sign is the night. وَآيَةٌ لَهُمُ اللَّيْلِ نَسْلَخ. So here, notice here, we draw forth. That's present tense. Right, that's present tense. Here, this was past tense. أَحْيَيْنَا, not nuhyi, not we give life. We have given it. We've already done it. You fast forward it. So there's a lot of, like, cinematography in the Quran is very powerful, jumping from time to time, from scene to scene. It's very powerful. But here it's نَسْلَخُ مِنْهُ النَّهَارَ فَإِذَا هُمْ مُظْلِمُونَ. Lo and behold, they're in darkness. They're in dark. And the sun runs to a term appointed for it. That is the ordinance of the mighty and the not knowing. You're not mighty, you don't know. As for the moon, we have ordained it. We mentioned that the word ordained comes twice. We did this mention this last week. We said that in the Arabic the word moon has a kind of tag on it, a grammatical tag on it that tells us that it is in the accusative and it's the object of a verb. So it's like saying, and we ordained the moon, we ordained it in stages till it became like an old dry palm branch or tree or leaf. Neither is it allowable to the sun that it should overtake the moon, nor for the night to outstrip the day, and each flow in the sphere. And that's why we said everything came back in that circle. Was kullun fi falakin, right? We mentioned that last week. The KLFY F falakin FLK. Right? Everything revolved around that, and it's approximately right in the middle of the surah. The middle of the surah is here in terms of numbers, at least. But maybe if you counted, maybe somebody can do that. Count the letters. That actually might be in the middle of the surah. Who knows? Right? If you looked at the letters, Allahu alam. And a sign for them is that we bear their offspring in the laden ship. Right? The laden ship. This is another sign. Right? Allah mentions this a lot. So the Arabia is right next to the sea. It's right next to the sea. So the ship that's a huge thing, right? Ships, it's not a small thing at all. I don't know exactly when ships became into use, but it's a huge thing, changing the reality of mankind. Sorry, we carry their offspring, their children, their progeny, generation after generation after generation for man in the laden ship that carries goods for them, right? And enables them to travel and do things that they couldn't normally do, right? So how about for us, right? So again, you have to always put ourselves in the context, contextualize. So important. Allah is boasting of his blessings to people who live in a pre-oil Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia now is wealthy. It's a desert still. So Allah is mentioning to these people who live in the desert, who don't have access to medical care that we do, that don't have electricity, that don't have fossil fuels, that don't have, and saying, I blessed you with this, 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 and this. What about us? Right? What about us? So when Allah talks about blessings, and you're talking to somebody who lives in the 21st century, subhanallah, right? So Allah's going to ask us. It's not wrong that we have blessings in our life, but Allah's going to ask us. Allah's going to say, I gave Tylenol to you, and I didn't give it to so-and-so. Gave access. You lived in a safe place on planet Earth. This person didn't. Show me what you did with it. Show me how you use your safety, your wealth, your ability to be healthy. Surely, if you are so healthy because you have access to healthcare, you should do much more good deeds than people who didn't. Surely, right? So Allah's not trying to take our blessings away, but He's going to say, hey, I gave you these blessings. Show me what you did with them. Show me how you gave thanks. And we have created for them the like of it, that which they may ride upon. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying we have subjugated these things for you, made it easy for you. And if we please, power, and so this is not just power, but this is also the weakness conjoined. So sometimes there's verses about power, sometimes the verses about the weakness of man. Here it's actually conjoined in one point. The two things are facing each other. And if we please, we, وَمَا لَنَا مَا الْعَظَمَ, the royal we, وَلَوْ نَشَاء, right? We would drown them in those ships. So while on a ship, you are being blessed by Allah. You are privy. You are seeing with your eyes that Allah is blessing you with the means of income and a huge miracle is happening. But you're also in an extremely vulnerable situation. You're in an extremely vulnerable situation. You could just get drowned like that. There should be no succorer. There's no helper for them. La sarikha lahum. Sarikh is the person you would shout to. Who can you shout to? Nobody. You would have nobody to shout to. وَلَا هُمْ يُنْقَذُونَ. You would not be saved. إِلَّا رَحْمَةً right? مِنَّا وَمَتَاعًا حِينًا. Apart from a tremendous mercy, an amazing thing happens from us and our. So here it doesn't say. It says it's just because we're nice to you. It's just because we're nice to you, right? So again, remember, every single one of us, we are kings being fed food with a golden spoon with a ventilator, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I am keeping the ventilator going. I'm making the ventilator going. And so thank me. I'm not trying to say I'm gonna stop, but just at least appreciate what's happening. And if we please, we can drown them, and they will have no one to cry to, and no one will help them, except a mercy from us. وَمَتَاعًا عَلَى حِينٍ. This word mata' comes in the Quran a lot. Mata' means luggage. It means something that you istamta' bihi is used, but then is thrown away. Right? It's like a plastic spoon that really can't be used more than once. If you've washed it, if you were pedantic, if you were careful and trying to be environmental friendly and washed it, you couldn't use it for very long. That's mata'. It's just something that you're not going to use for very long. So shortness of life is an indirect thing. You're going to be here for a short time, right? So now we're starting B again, right? Now we're starting B again. Again, this is my imperfect analysis. Wallahu alam. So B again was what the archetypal disbeliever. Given that we've given you these blessings, there was these three sections of blessings. Given that we are powerful, given that that we have blessed you, and given that we are powerful and you are weak, surely there should be a 90% response rate of humankind to God. Something like that. That's what you'd imagine. But it's not. The archetypal disbelieving people, what? Warned but yet heedless. And they get punished. But here, what's different in B2 is the repercussions are very brief, and here they're very extensive. So there's kind of like a section by itself, Wallahu alam. And then there's a whole section here on the weakness of man. And so when it is said to them, guard against what is before you and what is behind you, that you may be given mercy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threatens us with hellfire in order us to chase us to paradise. So take the active means to save yourself from the fire so that you should be given mercy and treated in a kind way. There comes not to them communication. So here, a communication of the communication. This is not a good translation, right? So what it should say, وَمَا يَأْتِيهِم مِّن رَسُولٍ, right? وَمَا تَأْتِيهِم آيَةٍ مِّنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ. Right, sorry. So it says, not a single. So here there's two mins, right? It should say, there is not a single sign right? Of the signs, there's not a single. The word single has to be. There's not at all. So you say, for example, Arabic, ma ja'a ahadun. Nobody came. Ma ja'a min ahadin. Not a single person came. Right? وَمَا تَأْتِيهِم مِّنْ آيَةٍ مِّنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ. And the word communication is also not fantastic translation either, right? Of the signs is a signal, it tells you something, right? So communication is interesting translation, but Allahu A'lam is like, so of the signs, the signposts of Allah that come to them, not a single one of them has come to them, right? Except that they turn away from it. And who are they turning away from? They're turning away from their cherishing Lord. This message is not from an angry person saying, "Hey, I hate you. Watch out." It's from your cherishing Lord, the one who wants good for them, right? Who wants good for them. I'm going to help you. Please listen to me, right? The doctor is telling you, "I need you to breathe in slowly," and you're hyperventilating, you're breathing really fast. I need you to stop. I don't want you to pass out. I need you to start breathing slowly, and you're just not listening. And when it is said to them, spend of that which Allah has given to you, right? They are conceited. Despite the blessings, they're conceited. They see it's my money, right? Spend out of that which Allah has given to you. It's not yours, right? And it doesn't say spend it. It's spend out of it, some of it, right? وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ أَنفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمْ what's the verse? وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ أَنفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ قَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, right? That some, Allah's not asking you to pay it all, just some, right? Allah's not asking us to pray all the time, just sometimes. Allah's not asking to fast all the time, just sometimes. And Allah's not making everything haram for us, just certain things. So just some, they say, what? Those who disbelieve say to those who believe, would we feed him whom if Allah pleased, he would feed, right? Surely the economic reality that we see in front of us is destiny, right? So why should we give charity, right? Let the poor work harder, you know. Ebenezer Scrooge, right? He's asked to donate. He says, don't the poor have places to go to, like the what's it called, go work on the mills and all that. Can't the poor be put in prison or something? Right. So they see that they deserve their money. It's my money, and I have no debt to Allah. I have no debt to Allah. And then they use a shubha, right? They use a semi-proof. Well, isn't God in control of the whole world? Yeah. Well, then let God work it out then, right? So they use these falsities, and you are naught but in clear error. You're just totally crazy, right? But it's the other way around. And they say, when is this threat then? They ask, okay, fine, just, they ask as not a real question, but as a mocking question. When is this threat that you're talking about? If you're speaking the truth, when is it going to happen? It's not going to happen. You're just making things up, right? And they wait not for aught but a single cry, i.e., effortlessness is the power. All it is one word, which will overtake them while yet they contend. So وما ينظر إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون, while they're arguing between each other. So they will not be able to make a bequest. They won't be able to say, "Oh, okay, it's happening, change." Nor will they return to their families. And then fast forward to Judgment Day, and the trumpet shall be blown, when lo, from their graves they will hasten on to their Lord. And they shall say, "Woe to us! Who has raised us from our sleeping place?" This is what the beneficent has promised, and the messengers told the truth. There would not be aught but a single cry, right? Power of Allah, just one word. And then lo, they shall be all brought before us. So this day no soul shall be dealt with unjustly in the least, i.e., even if we gave them everything they deserved, they'd still be in a big situation. And you shall not be rewarded or punished, or you should not be Recompense, not rewarded. Recompense, right? Because recompense could be good or bad. Reward is good, right? وَلَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. It's just you. It's just you. I'm not gonna pull out any things. You're not being punished for something else. You're punished for your own decisions. Punished for your own decisions. Surely the dwellers of the garden of paradise, capital G, shall on that day be in an occupation quite happy. They'll be very, very happy. في شغل فاكهون. They're busy with all sorts of wonderful things. They and their wives shall be in shades, reclining on raised couches. They shall have fruit therein. The verse says fruit. وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ. They have one fruit. Fakiha means one fruit. Fawakih is fruits, right? So key concept in Arabic, we often use the indefinite to indicate various different things. It could be grandeur, or it could be the opposite of grandeur. It could be the patheticness of something. You say, who's at the door? Oh, some man. It's the president, for crying out loud. What do you mean, some man? So you refer to him as some man, right? And you just said, you made it seem petty, right? So we could make it petty. It could also mean for a lot of something. So here it means a ridiculous and a ridiculous amount of fruits. Okay, well, why fruits? I don't want to eat fruits. I want to eat food. I mean, fruits. Why that's extra? Why? Because in Jannah you only eat for extra, right? If you think about it, the way that the way we were plugged in to have carbs and to have fat, right? Why do we do that? Like I'm anxious and I start eating sugar. I'm anxious and I start eating fat. Like why do I do that? Because I live for survival. I eat for survival. I'm anxious, I can hear the wolves howling, and so I need sugar to run, right? Winter's coming, I feel depressed and I need to put on fat. Right? That's how I'm designed. But that's because I eat for survival. In paradise, you do not eat for survival. It's just tafakkuh. Tafakkuh means to enjoy. So what it means is they're gonna have various things that they just enjoy. You just eat to enjoy things. You don't eat because you're hungry. You don't ever get hungry. And they shall have whatever they desire. Peace, a word from a merciful Lord. Notice here. So it's been made indefinite from an unfathomable merciful Lord. Not because obviously it is the merciful Lord, right? Salamun qawlan min Rabbin Rahim. So what it means is it's been made indefinite because you couldn't define it. That's what it means. Like when it's defined, it's limited. And here it's been, no, it's like you couldn't even describe who this cherishing, caring owner who is so merciful and so kind. Okay, the flip side. Get aside today, stand aside, O guilty ones. Mumtaz, right? Literally outstanding. Mumtaz means outstanding. Stand aside, get aside, O guilty ones. Did I not charge you, O children of Adam, that you should not serve the devil? Surely he is your open enemy. So how do we serve the devil? First, we start serving the devil by accepting to not do the best possible thing in any given moment. So you're breaking your fast tonight. You've had two pieces of pizza and you are satiated. You're not hungry. I mean, you could eat more, but you're not hungry. You're not like, and and the thought comes to your mind, I should pray Maghrib. But you say, no, 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 I'm going to keep eating. So you accepted a decision. You signed off in your head a decision that was not the best thing. Okay, well, how else do we serve the devil? Then we start accepting to miss the sunnah. There's a sunnah. I'm not going to pray my sunnahs after Maghrib today. Just too tired. Okay, Bismillah. And then the makruh. You're going to delay Maghrib very late. You can delay Asr very late. You're going to be eating in a makruh way or whatever it is, eating with your left hand. It's okay. It's not haram. Right? It's not a big problem. It's not haram. Right? You Google it. Eating with the left hand, it's not haram. Okay, great. I'll do it then. I accept to do something that Allah hates as long as He doesn't threaten me with hellfire. It's fine. And I sign that off. I'm okay doing it. Now, Something 50-50. Is it halal? Is it haram? Is it halal? It's debated. Witr. Some say it's wajib, some say it's not wajib. I won't pray it. Going to the masjid, some say you have to, some say you don't. I won't do it. Right? One clock says this, the other clock says this. It's probably still Isha time. I can keep. I'll just pray Isha last 5 minutes of Isha. Eat until the very last possible time before Fajr. I'm okay doing that. I'm now in the 50 in the gray areas, and I'm okay with that. I am willing emotionally and spiritually to do something that Allah may hate. Okay? And now I am doing what Allah hates and I accept that. Like, this is just me. I smoke, I cuss, and I don't change. I don't wear hijab. I don't pray at work. I eat haram food. There's a certain haram thing that I just do. So now I'm just serving the shaitan, right? First by shaitan wanted, he was, oh, there's a beautiful image of you, he wanted to chip away at you. So he chipped away at you first, leaving the awla, the best thing to do, and then leaving the sunnah, and then doing the makruh, and then doing the debated halal or haram, and then doing the haram, and now you persisting in the haram, right? And he's chipping away at you bit by bit by bit by bit, and then he wants you to one day your iman to just become so weak that one thing happens to you and it's gone. This is how it works. This is worship of the shaitan. It is not that you have an idol in your house called, you know, Beelzebub, whatever his name is. And that you should serve me. Notice it changes from not us to me. Right? When was the last time Allah referred to himself as a merciful Lord? Is right? And us. So when Allah is destroying them, He's us. When Allah is asking them to worship me, Allah does not need me to worship Him. Allah does not benefit from my worship. Allah is just nice. Right? He's just nice. It's just nice, that's all. I want you to worship me for your benefit, not for my benefit. I don't benefit. It's just nice. Right? A billionaire comes up to you and say, "Hey, kid, I want to help you set up a business. Here's your capital. Here's $10 million. And I'm going to help you set up this business. What are you trying to get out of me? What are you trying to get out of me?" I said, "Nothing. I'm trying to I want to help you." "No, no, what do you want from me?" Like, I'm sure you want to cut the business, you want this, you want that, you're trying to do, I don't trust you. Right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our gazillionaire who just gives, and that's it. Just like, I want you to just thrive through my worship because it's good for you, not because it's good for me. هذا صراط مستقيم. This is again indefinite. It doesn't say this is the straight way. This is a amazing straight way. هذا صراط. This is a straight way. This is a way that it's a sirat is a straight, is a path. It leads to the goal. A path is something that leads to a goal. It is straight. It doesn't go right and left. It's straight. It's very direct, and it is indefinite. It's amazing. You couldn't define it. It's too great. He has led many people before you. Right? What? Could you not then understand? This is the hell with which you have been threatened. Enter it to this day because you disbelieved. On that day, we will set a seal upon their mouths, and their hands shall speak to us, and their feet shall bear witness of what they have earned. So again, power. Right? So what do we have? Let's go back here. Weakness of man. Weakness of man. That's what we're looking at right now. And if we please, we would certainly put out their eyes. They have no power. And then they would run about groping for the way with no way to go. And if we please, we would surely transform them in their very place where they are. And then they would not be able to go forth, nor go on or return. They couldn't do anything to them. Because they transform or transfix. Right? And whoever of them, if they grow old, i.e., if we let, how do you phrase this? They're being allowed to live longer is itself a chipping away of their existence. right? So the word is not just life, it says Umar, right? Umar is like to flourish. If we let them flourish, their being left to flourish is their demise, right? So if we just killed them this way or that way, they would be dead, right? And if we let them, if we didn't, they're still dying. They are walking to their grave, right? If we gave them the grave in their hand right now, they would be dead. And otherwise they were walking to their grave, right? And we reduce them to an abject state of condition. Would they not understand? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this is a huge rahmah, right? Imagine if, for example, you're 10, you're like, oh man, I wish I was a teenager. It's so annoying being at like 10, you can't do anything. Then you're a teenager, like, oh man, I wish I was like an adult. I could actually do stuff. I could buy stuff. I could do this. We have a bit more freedom. And now I'm an adult. The problem of being an adult is you're responsible. So now you find yourself in prison. Now you find yourself this. Now you find yourself that. And the problem of being in your 20s and 30s and 40s is you are more financially capable. You have better education. You can do things. And you are more impressive, right? You are more impressive, right? There's things about like, wow. So the pride sets in. Like you can do things. You are someone to look at, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His kindness, when you get into your 30s and 40s, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tips the balance. You start to taste death slower, weaker, this, that, various different things start. It's like, wow, man. And so what a curse it would be if we only became stronger, healthier, better looking, and more capable, right? What a curse it would be. Because it would be so hard to be humble and so hard to avoid sin. Like imagine if every single year of your life you became better looking. So that means the opportunity for sin is greater. If you became more wealthy, the opportunity for sin and power and pride. So Allah, out of His kindness, He helps us in the process and told us that. So the person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep sending difficulties. You get older, this happens and that happens, and this is, and you don't look like you used to look, and all these different things. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a kindness for you, that you walk on the face of the earth, and all your sins are being taken away from you through this pain and this infection and that infection and this problem until you come on judgment day with no sins. It's a huge blessing for us. The last one says, you're not going to understand like where's your mind. So that was that. So I just want to look at the word understand if that comes in B as well. uh this comes up a lot. I don't know how many times. I think it comes maybe 5 times in Surah Yasin, the word aqala, to understand. So let's just go. I want to see just in section B, does it mention it before in section B1 about reflecting and understand? Where is it? If only they'd understand, right? يا ليت قومي يعلمون here. No, that was not. Did I skip something? That's B. That's part here. I might want C. Where is this? No, I'm skipping something. 13. No, it's right. So it goes up to 32. Where is 32? Yeah, look at 32. 32. Hmm. Well, not 32 then. It mentions before that 20. Here he says in 26 anyway, he says, would that my people had known, if only they had known, right? If they could only know. So Allahu A'lam, this is kind of somewhat connected to this part here. So the point is that when you see that structure, you can start to compare and contrast and see more connections, right? Weakness of man, etc. Um, we did that. And it says, If only they would understand. And now the last section here, we're going back to A. So A, the very beginning of the surah began with the mighty message from wise God. Most will not listen, resurrection and power. And again, 69 to 83 is mighty message from knowledgeable God. Most will not listen, resurrection and power. Right? So these things are connected. We're going to go on to Surah Al-Waqi'ah. Who knows Surah Al-Waqi'ah? What does it begin with? It mentions three groups. And then it ends with what does it end with? Three groups, right? So this is a it's a system, right? It's a system that we observe, right? It mentions it mentions فأما إن كان من أصحاب اليمين سلام لك من أصحاب اليمين وأما إن كان من المقربين. So it mentions the three groups in the beginning of the surah and then the three groups at the end of the surah. Right? There's a clearly A, and then you now have to go through, and perhaps you can all do that. Just pick it up now. Pick up Waqi' and just try and see the sections. You can see the beginning and the end, and then you can be, okay, well, what's that? How many pieces are there? And where does it converge? Right? It's not super easy. And again, you can look at it in different ways. It's not only one way to analyze, but this you see this again and again and again. Excuse me. So now verses 1 to 12 are mirrored in verses 69 to 83 in this way. Okay. And we have not taught him poetry. This is not just some dumb words. This is not just somebody saying things. It's not just somebody saying things, right? So this is a key concept, really, really important thing to understand is a lot of people just say stuff, right? A lot of people just say things, right? So here's a poem. Um, you know, Dickens, right? Like I read not that much Dickens, but I did read quite a lot of Dickens. And it's like totally amazing. Like I remember reading, I don't know how old I was, maybe 13, 14. I remember reading Oliver Twist and crying, right? I'm not a very emotional person, dry, boring English person. Like I remember crying reading Oliver Twist. Um, so I thought like this is a really amazing book. Like totally amazing. Like the author must be a very profound, deep, spiritual person. The opposite is the case, right? Bob Dylan, right? I don't listen to Bob Dylan, but he's famous for his words and all these things. The guy's no like he doesn't have anything to say in reality. He's got amazing words, but in reality, he's not actually anything. So a lot of people they they say really profound things, right? Music will talk about all sorts of things and like words like, wow, that's so romantic. But actually it's just empty words. Most people it's just empty words. You just say things that sound really profound or rhymed. But it's actually there's just walk, but there's no talk. So Allah is telling us this is not poetry. This is real. Right? Even with poetry, they say with poetry, أكذب الشعر أحسنه, right? Like the more lies, the more fake a poem is, the better. Like it has to be fake, it has to have something off with it, right? Hassan ibn Thabit, the great poet, he was a poet in the Jahiliyyah. He had a lot of poetry in the Jahiliyyah. When he became Muslim, he kind of didn't really have much to say because it didn't like the Quran was just kind of like, I think so they said Surah Al-Baqarah just kind of did me over. That was it. Like I can't really there's nothing to say anymore. A lot of it is just not nonsense. Like, a lot of it's just like whatever. Right? The music in the background of the film. Take out the music, nothing's happening. So the music is just fake. It's just a feeling. It's not real. Right? It just makes you feel sad or makes you feel hyped or like but actually it's like, like in the action film that the whole film took an hour and a half. this happened and that happened, all these things. In reality, like what is heroism? Like it's a totally different thing, right? People who live life and you go through what does it mean to be a hero? What does it mean to be brave? It's a totally different thing to the fake cinematography and the fake hype and the fake feelings. A lot of fake things. It's not real. But this Quran is real. It's very real. Nor is it anything but a mighty reminder and a plain, clear recital. That it may warn a people. Notice, warn in a warn. لِتُنذِرَ قَوْمًا, right? That it may warn a people and that the word may prove against لَقَدْ حَقَّ الْقَوْلُ عَلَى أَكْثَرِهِمْ. Isn't it the same? Right? This is verse. Go back to look at 70. Where's Yasin? Look at the beginning of Yasin, and you're going to see it. We should almost have it in two slides right next to each other. The beginning of Yasin, it says, لِتُنذِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنذِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. Right? That you may warn. So that's number 5. Number 5 and number 70 go together. Right? And then it says that you may warn him who would have life. Right? Do they not see that we have created cattle for them? So again, cattle. What does that mean? It means transport. It means predictable, easy access to protein, i.e., survival. We mentioned this last lesson, the lesson before. Access to protein is not a given. It's not easy. Why do the Inuits live in the south in the North Pole? Why do they live in an insanely cold place? Because access to protein is not easy. It's not a thing that you do. Why do I don't know what tribes they are? There's some tribe in somewhere in Africa where they drink the blood of the cows. Why do they do that? Why do you just kill a cow every day? Because access to protein is not easy. Why did the ancient Hittites import the Indus Valley water buffalo from the Indus Valley and bring it to Asia Minor and from Asia Minor into ancient Egypt and into Africa? Because the Cape buffalo is not domesticable. There was no, despite the great large numbers of animals in Africa, there was no domesticable megafauna. There's no large animal that can feed people that you can domesticate, apart from the donkey. That was the exception, right? So they had donkeys, but they imported, right? They imported these things. So having access to sheep, this is a huge thing. It's not a small thing. Access to a cow is a huge thing. It's not a small thing, right? It's not a small thing at all. So they're not saying then we have created for them. So power and debt, right? Sorry, there's questions here. Okay. Um, um, وَذَلَّلْنَاهَا فَمِنْهَا and then we made them so they are what do you say? مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون. Right? We've given you something that's not even yours. We've made you gods on earth, basically. Everything serves you. Right? And we have subjugated them. وَذَلَّلْنَاهَا لَهُمْ فَمِنْهَا رَكُوبُهُمْ وَمِنْهَا يَأْكُلُ. Some of them you use for travel. Right? There would be no life in the desert without camels. Did you know that, for example, that in California, they were actually using camels? Right? That was a part of the expanding in the West. They used camels as having cameliers or cameltiers, whatever the word is. It was a thing here in California. Same thing in Australia, right? I think they have more camels in Australia than they have in Saudi Arabia, right? Because it's such a fundamental thing. It's actually very difficult you can't survive the desert without the camel. Very important thing. And some of them you eat. And therein they have advantages and drinks. Will they not be grateful? Right? And they have taken gods. besides Allah. And it doesn't say besides Allah, right? It says beneath Allah. وَاتَّخَذُوا وَاتَّخَذُوا min what's the verse? Uh, am I mixing? I'm mixing this up with something else. One second. There's min dunillah. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. وَاتَّخَذُوا min dunillah. So dun means taht, means beneath. Something that falls short. They have taken. They have um, taken. It's not just taken like to. They have taken on and made to exist that something doesn't exist. Ittikhad, to take. From something that is falling short of Allah, various gods. لَعَلَّهُمْ with the mere hope that they might be given help. لا يستطيعون نصرهم. They can't help them. They will not be able to assist them. Right? وهم لهم جند محضرون. Um, and they will be brought together with them, along with them, and punished. فَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ قَوْلُهُم. Don't be sad, right? We go back to the beginning of the surah. Look at the beginning of the surah. What does it say? إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ about sad فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُ وَسَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنذَرْتَهُمْ تُنذِرُ إِنَّمَا تُنذِرُ مَنِ اتَّبَعَ الذِّكْرَ وَخَشِيَ الرَّحْمَنَ بِالْفَشِّرْهُ وَيَغْفِرْ إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ. It doesn't mention being sad though in the beginning, does it? So it mentions this is a real message, same thing, and it mentions warn and that most of them will not believe, right? So it doesn't mention that though. It says you will only be able to warn those who diligently follow the reminder and those who fear the most merciful. Here it says, um, therefore let not their speech grieve you. That doesn't mention there's no mention of the feelings of the messenger here. Ah, but it is in B though. So so that is echoed. So again, this structure might be a bit more complex than you can imagine. See the sorrow of the so in B, like right at like 25, he says, "Yeah, later qawmi ya'lamun." Oh, my poor people. He loved his people. He wishes people would go the right way. Right? I wish they would only do it. So that sorrow is reflected here. Right? The same thing. But it's not how to organize the structure. Allah. فلا يحزنك قولهم. Don't be sad. إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون. We know every single thing that they do. And then weakness of man. أولم يرى الإنسان. Does not man see? Where are we? That we have created him from a small seed, i.e. of sperm. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ demonstrated this. He once spat into his hand and said, "This is what you're made out of." Like it's not very nice. Something disgusting. Like you have you're very small. You're very insignificant. And yet you act in this crazy way, right? أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الْإِنسَانُ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِن نُطْفَةٍ فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. And then lo and behold, he is an open disputant. I'm going to sue God, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like Stephen Hawkins, read him. It's like, subhanAllah, this is exactly Stephen Hawkins. Somebody who is he still alive? I don't think he's alive anymore, is he? Um, in a wheelchair, you can't speak, you can't do that, and yet you kind of play God. You see yourself as like the creator of the universe and the definer of the universe. It's like amazing, amazing amount of pride, ridiculous amount of pride. So you're just this. You're not that amazing. One of the blessings that Allah gives us is sins. It's a blessing for us. You make tawbah and Allah forgives you. And it makes you humble. You're like, you're not that amazing. Did you know that? You're not that amazing physically, right? You're not that amazing spiritually. You're not that amazing intellectually, financially, this, that of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of of his kindness is he shows us our imperfections. You cannot and he can. He is and you are not, or we are not, right? This is part of the beauty of the relationship. Right? Now, obviously, Allah doesn't do that in Jannah. Inshallah, if we make it, may Allah give us Jannah. In Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't put us in an awkward situation where we're continually seeing His beauty through our it's not like that. We see it in a different way in Jannah. Inshallah, everything is perfect and great, but but it's because we're purer there, right? It's a different kind of thing, right? But seeing this, let's find a good place to pause. We're kind of running it. We've gone over time. So it says, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَ قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ. So again, go back to the previous thing. So it says, Inna nahnu nuhyi al-mauta. This is 12. We give life to the dead. Here it mentions, right? And he has the guts to start saying, well, that wouldn't make sense. He strikes an example for us, right? In a rude way. He's like, well, like people say, oh, I don't mind going to hell. I like hot places. It's like, subhanallah, subhanallah. Right? وَضَرَبَ لَنَا. And he, in his patheticness, makes an example for us in our greatness. And he forgets the fact that he's created. وقال, he says, مَن يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ. Who's gonna bring the bones back to life when they are rotten? Say, قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. The one, say that he will bring back life, the one who brought them in the first place. And he is cognizant. That's not a very good translation. He knows. Cognizant is to appreciate something. Like I'm cognizant of your, you know, I cognizant of the difficult of the fact that the student was fasting. I made the test easier. Right? It's like it's not really so that's not the word here. And he has knowledge. Right? Where do we see knowledge? وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. Number 12 mentions we've carefully written down every single thing, right? So he knows. وَهُوَ الْخَلَّاقُ الْعَلِيمُ. He's the one who he knows everything. الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُم مِنَ الشَّجَرِ الْأَخْضَرِ نَارًا. He who made for you fire to burn from the green tree. What is this? Is that basically you get a tree that is not dry, okay? So there's still sap in it. And you use the friction of the sap. So you get a rope and you put it over a branch and you pull it back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward until it starts a fire. So you use the friction of the sap, the drying sap in it to actually start a fire. So the fact that it's dead, you actually use it for life. Right. So again, Allah has blessed you. Where is where is the appreciation? فَإِذَا هُمْ مِنْهُ تُوقِدُونَ. Lo and behold, you are able to kindle a fire. Can he not? Is he who is not who create? Is he who created the heavens and the earth? Is he not in the slightest capable? B, right? B means is he not in the slightest? Really? He's not in the slightest. I'm gonna. So the word be means you say for example, lest be alimin. I'm not a scholar in the sense at all. So the word ba here, bi qadir means it's really Allah not in the slightest capable of doing that. Right? Bala wa huwa al-khallaq alim. Rather, he could continually do that, creator of all, and he's totally knowledgeable. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. Right? He just says be and it is. There's actually no effort involved whatsoever. فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء. So glorified beyond description is he in whose hand is the total kingdom, the total dominion. So mulk, kingdom, malakut, total, absolute ownership. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. And unto him you will be returning. Right? إِنَّمَا تُنذِرُ مَنِ اتَّبَعَ الذِّكْرَ وَخَشِيَ الرَّحْمَنَ بِالْغَيْبِ. You can only warn somebody who's actually listening and is attentive and wants to follow and has dread and awe of Allah. Key concept. Right? One of the things that gets us is the confidence of a good deed. Right? Pride comes before a fall. You do lots of good deeds. You just finished your 20 rakahs of Taraweeh, and mashallah, you're on route to finishing the Quran this month, and you're feeling good, and then you slip. What happened? Pride comes before a fall. Right? So we should never be like the sign of a good deed is that you feel more broken before Allah. right? If you don't feel more broken before Allah, that means your good deeds are not they're not taking exactly in the right direction. Inshallah, 50% in the right direction, but more broken, right? So a sin that breaks you is much better than a good deed that makes you proud and confident, right? Not that we should go around doing sins, right? But the relationship, right? فَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, and you are being effortlessly brought back to Him. Right? So you have khashya of that. So we have to have dread and awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yes, Allah is Rahman and Rahim, and He's done these things. But we have to have those two things there. Inshallah, we'll stop here. Inshallah, next class we'll go on to sort of the workout. Inshallah. So re-look at the structure again. Um, you know, inshallah, it does make sense, inshallah ta'ala. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك